commemorating the 20 years of R2P. And now we would like to open the floor for interventions. But before we do that, let us all take a moment to reflect. And it's worth remembering that last Tuesday on 16 September, 20 years ago, not very far from this room, the idea of the responsibility to protect was adopted by 150 heads of states. And it marked a profound shift in how we view sovereignty. No longer could it be a shield for the commission of mass atrocities, but instead it was reframed as a responsibility, as a duty towards safeguarding life, dignity, rights, and protection of populations from the most conscious, shocking crimes. If we look at the arc of the last 2 decades, something striking emerges. And the norm has taken root. Atrocities no longer are hidden behind claims of domestic jurisdiction or cries of internal matter. The world has a vocabulary and an expectation that mass atrocities are a concern of all humanity. And Excellencies, while the UN Charter's preamble affirmed the determination to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war, and the Holocaust gave rise to the call for never again, it is actually with the adoption of the responsibility to protect and sort of the implementation of many other protection norms that collective response to atrocities shifted from being an aspiration to an expectation. And we have seen the international community, however imperfectly, act on that expectation. In DRC, in Mali, in Central African Republic, to some extent in Syria. The record is patchy, but it is there. So as we mark this anniversary, let us not only mourn the failures, because they are devastating and many, but let us also remember the shift in global conscience this principle has brought about. It has changed the conversation. It has changed the conversation on what states can claim, what victims and survivors should demand, and what the international community must answer to. And that, my friends, is no small achievement. And yet, the principle is being painfully tested today. Right now, there is a genocide being committed in Gaza, and there is a genocide being committed in Darfur. And populations in South Sudan, in the Central African Republic, in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, in DPRK, the list is never ending, in Venezuela, Haiti, are being subjected to crimes against humanity and war crimes. And these atrocities are not inevitable, and they should not be considered as such. They are a culmination and a consequences of unchecked risk factors and early warning signs that have either been ignored or very intentionally suppressed. They are our failure to not build societal resilience through early prevention. They are a failure to not translate early warning into early action, or to not muster the will to act when populations are really at threat. And another thing to remind us is that an essential part of confronting the failure to not uphold the responsibility to protect involves our not being able to work with the most important stakeholders, or not working consistently with the most important stakeholders for whom, as many panelists said, responsibility to protect is not just an abstraction, but the difference between life and death. And these includes civil society actors, human rights defenders, and affected communities. And it is vitally important, especially in these times, and especially when there are no domestic avenues for protection and justice, that we work with these communities. The UN is one of the very few spaces where victims can speak directly to the world, where civil society can challenge silence and indifference, and where governments, however reluctantly, can hold their peers in full view of others. And yet, civil society is often excluded from decision-making processes, and even is confronted. I have many civil society colleagues here today who it's so difficult to even access these premises. There's so many practical barriers for us to even be in the room. So, friends, let's be clear that for us to fully grasp what it actually means to really stand up for what we believe in. Every action that we take place, not only the response that we take to prevent atrocities and elsewhere, but every statement we make, who we allow in the room, who we exclude from the rooms, sends a message to perpetrators as well as victims and survivors. So the international community's credibility and the lives of countless people depend on whether states have the courage to act when it is not just politically convenient, but most difficult. So when we leave this meeting, let's keep these thoughts in our minds and really make choices that are about standing not only for just moral imperatives, because Gaza has shown that there are not many lines that cannot be crossed, but the legal obligations that we have signed up to.